And even now, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've had conversations with partners where I've gone, look, like, we don't want to raise the price of the event to penalize the runner because it's already expensive. We want you to invest in what we do so we can grow the experience for the community, for the runner. And ultimately, then we're all more successful in this whole endeavor, really.
So you just kept going because you knew what the potential could be. I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of hard work that is involved in building something. I've chatted with Dylan about this. I've chatted with so many people about, like, you think you're going to be successful in year one, you really need 3 years. And building this community of early stage founders and entrepreneurs, and like, there's no better way to learn it than to learn it, right? Like, you gotta get your feet wet, your hands dirty, whatever the saying is, and kind of fail and succeed on your own. So why do you think the brands kept coming back, right? So the shoe brands are definitely critical in the support of, like, how are you providing value to those shoe brands that kept them coming back? And you started with Altra, you worked with Salomon, now you're with Adidas Terex. So clearly something is working. Maybe there are race directors listening that are wanting to know, like, why are they continuing to come back?
I think we focused very heavily on being connected to the community. So at the same time that we started UTCT, we started a community kind of running group called Tuesday Trails. And that allowed us to be part of the community and not kind of above it.
Dipping in when it's useful.
Exactly. And, you know, when it came down to volunteers or anything, I knew people and I knew how much value that they provided. And we obviously had established friendships and relationships with a lot of these people. So I think if I go to the sponsorship side, is they, you know, the race definitely has a massive and a strong community base and of support and following. Like, I see so many similarities between UTCT and Western States, and that's why I love coming back here and seeing, like, what is happening, how they're doing it, because they've had 50 years, you know, we've only had 10. But I want to have this idea of Scott Jurek and Hal Corner at an aid station. I want the guy who won UTCT 3 times or 6 times or whatever to be back at an aid station and working and being part of it. So I think the sponsorship thing for us was we provided that connection to community, and it wasn't just a once-off, you know, here's the race, boom, quickly over and done with. So we did that. I think Cape Town is it's one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. Table Mountain is iconic. So we had all of those pieces, but every year the race, we kept investing, and one of the pieces, we were very lucky to work with Red Bull very early on. And one of the key lessons that they taught us was, you have to build it. You have to show that, you know, it had changed from where you could just go to a brand and say, hey, this is what I want to do, will you give me money? To, you have to show them this is what we're doing. So that's why we invested in the race. We grew the experience, and it was almost a case that they came to us to say, hey, we want to be part of this. We want to help you grow this experience. And even now, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've had conversations with partners where I've gone, look, like, we don't want to raise the price of the event to penalize the runner because it's already expensive. We want you to invest in what we do so we can grow the experience for the community, for the runner. And ultimately, then we're all more successful in this whole endeavor, really. So, yeah, it's been a buy-in, I think, from partners,
We were talking the other day about how the mark of success, quote unquote, is having a bank as the sponsor. Talk to me about what's different in South Africa versus what you've seen here in the States in terms of, like, the types of brands that are interested. Why is it so common for a bank to be involved? I definitely don't see that here in the US. I see some regional involvement from car dealerships and, like, local credit unions, but it's definitely not common. It's not more often than not.
Like I mentioned, so back home, it's almost like a status, is when your event gets to a certain level, a bank will come in and invest and be part of it. And I think it's what having spoken to people in the kind of sponsorship game, what's really nice is they're not a trail brand. So they're looking for different ways to market themselves, to be part of the community, to elevate the experience for the runner, and to be, like we often say, to be proudly South African. We've a history of being ashamed of ourselves, so we try and push this narrative of we want to be proudly South African. We're doing good things, so I think I'm not sure why necessarily like a race like Western States doesn't have that endemic or non-endemic sponsor coming to them and saying, listen, like, it's amazing what you do, like.
They have a car dealership that's based out of Auburn. I think it's a Subaru dealer in Auburn. Like they get a race entry and they love being a part of it.
Yeah. But like we've had the local car dealership, but now like we want to talk to Ford South Africa or Toyota South Africa because we want the race to be not only a national one, but an international one. Like I think being in the bottom of South Africa, we constantly look towards America and Europe and to see what's happening and how things are working. And we do have it's a small market, but I think the race definitely punches above its weight, and it has attracted elite runners from all over. And I think it's certainly not everybody's. Well, I think it's a lot of people's bucket list race. So walking around the village, meeting people, a lot of them say like, "Yo, we'd love to come and do UTCT one day," and that obviously makes me feel very proud. And I think for a bank, what they're doing is they're investing in helping us grow the event to be more than, I guess, than like I often say is like a Hoka or a Terex. They can give you cash, but ultimately you also need a lot of VIK. The shoes, the race shirt. Those are expensive items, so they're covering those items. Whereas the bank, all they've got is money, and that's at the end of the day, you need money to build something.
Yeah. Speaking of money, how do you think about prize purses and attracting a competitive field?
Yeah, all in. It's been a constant narrative in South African sport because of our disparity between rich and poor, and the fact that a lot of our runners are people who come from very disadvantaged backgrounds. Like I almost compare a lot of the runners to boxers. They're fighting their way out, and this is their opportunity. So we've always tried to push for prize purses. We've got, I'd love to say we could provide more, and we are looking at trying to raise that. But I'm definitely been a strong proponent. I think elite athletes work so hard, they don't get the credits that they deserve, and I'm a strong believer that prize money is a way for the sport to not only go forward, but to give those elite runners credit for the work that they do, because I don't believe they get enough, and I don't think they get paid enough either.
I think there's a lot of talk lately about the money in road versus the money in trail. We saw Broken Arrow this past weekend, where they have the second largest prize purse of any trail race, and two Kenyans were first and second at the 46K?
23.
23K, yeah. And a Moroccan won the 46K. Correct?
No, he won the Moroccan won the 26, and the two Kenyan guys were second and third, and then Joyce won the 23 as well.
Right. So we're drawing from Africa here in California. You told me about how brutal the travel was.
Yeah.
But they're coming here because that prize purse is so substantial. I think it's a way to draw athletes and competitors from roads where the prize purses are six figures or higher for first place. I believe the total prize purse was 60K here at Broken Arrow. Having athletes from Northern Africa compete, or Central Africa compete in South Africa must be a point of pride and a focus for you.
Yeah.
How do you think about that aspect of it, and how do you focus on drawing that competitive field? Is it related? Is the prize purse number one? Is it the exposure through a live stream, like what's happening at Western States? Like, how do you think about building that field, and does that lead to more amateurs joining as well?
Yeah, definitely. So I've always spent quite a long time locally speaking to runners' managers to attract them to come run UTCT. I mean, every year we kind of contact the top 10, top 20 at Comrades to say, hey guys, you know, there's an opportunity.
Too, yeah.
It's your down season. Come have a look. Come have a try. You know, some run the 55, some run the 100K. And it's always an eye-opener. And we've had like one of our top, you know, the last South African actually to win the race was a Comrades gold medalist, Prodigal Kamala. He won 2 years in a row in 2016 and 17. And then, you know, we've had Bong Musa Mtembu, who's also won Comrades like 3 or 4 times. Kind of seen as, you know, if you win Comrades, you're a national treasure almost. And in those teams and in those managements, they have connections to the Kenyan runners and the Moroccan runners and stuff like that.
Road runners or trail?
Yeah. Most of them is road. And that is where their bread and butter is, you know, and I can't fault that.
Because of money.
Because of money, yeah.
And pride and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to Kenya, people are running a marathon. Right. That's the gold standard. When you ask them, you run 50Ks, they're like, why?
In training, maybe.
Yeah, in training, possibly. But, you know, having kind of been there a while now and on knocking on that door, I see, you know, what Golden Trail Series has done. It's obviously through brands, they're starting to, because the pool of talent is incredibly large, and there's only 5 or 6 guys who are really going to hit that top step in those world marathons. So I think it's just a case of, you know, when the prize money gets to a point that it's noticeable, those runners will then start to kind of go, okay, well, I've tried marathon, I'm a 2:15 or 2:10 or maybe a 2:8 or whatever, and I'm not going to get to that top step, so I'm going to give it a try outside of that. And I think that's what's happened with, you know, Elazine, Patrick, and Joyce and the other guys in the Golden Trail. And I think, like, if you look at triathlon, from what I've seen there, it's like you develop in your Olympic distance, and then you go on towards your longer, you know, your Ironman distance and stuff like that. So I think it's just a matter of time before we start really attracting that talent. And I don't think our prize money is quite enough yet, but when you bring up, you know, the amount that was at Golden Trail, at Broken Arrow, then it's a number, and it's a consistent number because they're racing in a series around the world. So yeah, you know, I don't know how long it will take, but I do believe in the next 10 years we're going to start seeing a lot more, and hopefully you'll see a Kenyan standing on the start line at Western States.